My name's David Walsh. I work for Dynamic Fire Protection. We installed the sprinkler system. This is the backflow preventer. This is where the sprinkler water comes in from the street. These two valves are tampered, so if you turn them, if anyone turns them, it's going to go into alarm. This is the wet system. This side feeds this side of the building. This side feeds that side of the building. These are tamper valves as well. If someone turns them, it's going to set an alarm off. This is a flow switch. If there's a fire and a head breaks and water starts to flow, there's a paddle inside the pipe that the flow of water moves into the open position, and then after 30 seconds the alarm will go off. This is the dry system, which does the attic and the 3 storage rooms behind us, and it's full of compressed air, and there's a compressor on it to make sure that the compressed air stays between 30 and 40 pounds. And if a head breaks in the storage room or the attic, the loss of air pressure trips this valve, which floods the system with water. This is the valve, this is where the water comes into the building, so if you just shut it off there.
And that's turning that black knob.
Turning it clockwise will shut it off.
We'll shut it off.
It'll already be an alarm, so it really won't matter.
Right.
That the alarm's going off.
Okay, but if you had to shut it off, and that orange paddle that will turn 190 degrees to show that it's blocking that it's off.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
And this is a spare head box, but if a head breaks, you're going to have to call either us or a sprinkler company to come replace it.
Okay.
This is the sprinkler room of Building A. All the other sub fire alarm panels come back to here to these monitoring modules. Each zone has its own monitoring module, and when that particular zone of that building goes off, this green light turns to red. That will indicate what has happened in each of these buildings. That in turn will be notified on this panel here, which is the main fire alarm panel, and be reported to Wayland Fire via radio signal. This is Wayland Fire's radio box. No one but Wayland Fire is allowed access to this without their permission, and they would need to be called to get into this box if service needs to be done. These are future tampers. This will be, if somebody touches one of those tampers, it will alert a security company that somebody's touched it, to basically make sure that the sprinkler company actually turns it back on, or somebody comes and messes with it. So a security, if anybody does happen to shut a tamper, which are these, somebody will be notified of it and the police will show up, unless you call the security company ahead of time. This will monitor your tampers, okay? It will be a monitoring module right here. This will tell the phone auto dialer in Building C to call somebody, the monitoring company, and they will in turn send somebody out to take a look at it. If it's in the middle of the night and somebody shuts a tamper off, the police will probably come here. If it's in the middle of the day, somebody shuts the tamper off, they might make another decision on who to call to find out, what's going on. But this is your relay box. This basically tells the radio box, deciphers the information given by the other panels, and in turn tells Wayland Fire what's going on. So this doesn't need to be touched. This doesn't need to be touched. Okay?
And as far as maintenance on it, there's none.
There's no maintenance on it.
No.
But there is testing, required
Yes.
testing to make sure that
You
it's
have to
functional.
test all the alarms, make sure everything works.
Okay.
And we can set off a flow alarm as we would need to call the fire department to do that. But as if we had a flow, there is a bell on the outside of the building that is part of the fire alarm system.
Which bell? This guy right here.
This guy right here will go off. And once the fire, that indicates the flow, and then once the fire alarm is activated, the strobe will go off. And that's the only indication that anybody will have that there's a fire alarm. inside the units. So there'll be obviously a loud noise and a strobe coming off your building to indicate that there's actually water flow in the building, or an alarm due to a heat detector going off. I will show you what the heat detectors look like.
Now, if a heat detector goes off, this bell won't ring because that's only for the flow of water.
Correct.
It's that light, strobe light, will indicate that a heat detector has activated.
And the fire department has been notified that that heat detector has gone off and are probably en route to do so. We do have part of the. This is an auxiliary firebox. This controls this building alone, which goes back to building A where the main fire alarm panel is. This will indicate what's going on in this building if there's an alarm, or if there's a tamper, or if there's somebody touches a tamper, it will go off.
What are the devices that go off, Matt? Because if you burn toast in your kitchen, the smoke detector.
I can show that when we get into the.
Okay. Now, to silence this,
You do not touch that.
you do not touch this.
Okay.
Okay.
The key will be removed once we're done.
Now, who's going to get the key?
The fire department has a key.
And this key will stay with the master set of keys for the property.
Yes.
Okay, and be kept somewhere on site by
And
whoever is entrusted
anybody
with that.
who has worked with fire alarms and is a fire alarm company,
Yeah.
or an electrical company that works with fire alarms,
Will
has
have
a key like that
this key.
anyway. So it is a universal.
Oh, they're all the same?
They're your universal notifier key.
Okay. Now, when you said that you're not allowed to shut the alarm off, but as I understand it, you are allowed to silence it, to put it in, to silence it.
My theory and my belief is, if you don't know what you're doing, don't touch it. Now, the fire department will not know what happened if you accidentally acknowledge it, silence it, reset it in any way, shape, or form. So you'll never know what the problem was.
Right, I understand that. This button here is the alarm silence button. It is the only button that you may activate to silence the alarm. You may not touch any other button by order of the fire department. Okay.
In every unit, there is a heat detector located in each kitchen and 2 in the attics. These heat detectors will basically set the fire alarm off and indicate to the fire department that there is a problem. This one in the kitchens are rated 135 degrees, and the ones in the attic are rated to rise 195 degrees to accommodate humidity in the summertime. So if there's any damage to that via somebody hits it or something like that, that device needs to be replaced. It either works or it doesn't work. So if there's damage to it, you may not have your protection that you are required to have, or basically life safety.
Does it have the light on it? Does it have?
No, there is no power there. It's a signal device. It's a switch.
Well, is that hardwired?
It's hardwired.
But it has no light that shows that it's activated.
Because it's off of the fire alarm. If it's not activated, or if there's a break in the system and there's
trouble.
you go back to the trouble in the fire alarm panel, and if it's activated, it opens up to 24 volts and sets the alarm. If this device, the heat detector, malfunctions, there will be a trouble in the fire alarm panel in the sprinkler room, notifying that there is a problem, a break in the line. If somebody does do damage to it, there is no light, there is no indication that there is anything but an ounce of prevention is 1,000-pound cure. If there's a question, this device is easily replaced, and it's better to be safe than sorry. So if it goes off, then the fire department, then the line will be set. But if you break the line, there's a trouble in the fire alarm panel, and somebody would have to come in and find out where the trouble is, and it could very well be in the device. So if that device does break, you can call us at Grace Electric. Our phone number is 603-532-9900. And we can easily come down and service anything involved in the fire alarm of these buildings. Changing of heat detectors, testing the system, testing the battery, and any other problems that may occur in the fire alarm system.